Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Udayan Gautam. We are continuing our video lectures on NBA accreditation for diploma engineering programs. And today's video is about COPO-PSO mapping. So to start with the process, first of all, we need to understand the curriculum very well. So for understanding the curriculum, we need to first of all know which category of courses we are teaching. So it is seen that AICTE or our state board, they prescribe the curriculum as per certain broad categories of courses. The courses or the categories are like the basic sciences, the humanities and social sciences, engineering sciences, program core courses are there, elective courses, open elective courses, internship, project, audit. So all these are the umbrella categories in which various sorts of courses are prescribed for the entire program. So we need to understand which course falls in which category. That means mathematics is a course that belongs to the basic sciences category. English or communicative English is a course that falls in the humanities and social sciences categories. This understanding is required before we go for COPO-PSO mapping. Now, to begin with the mapping process, it is very simple to understand. Mapping is a process of establishing correlation and assigning strength in numerical figures thereafter. So we shall learn this in two stages. First of all, we shall try to establish relationship between the course and the PO and PSO statements, that whether the course is sufficiently meeting the demands of the program outcomes or the program specific outcomes is to be made clear. Therefore, before assigning strength, that is the second part we shall see in this same video, we need to establish the correlation between the course and the PO and PSO statements. So mapping is a thing that we have done in our childhood sufficiently. Just for example, I have given here a simple picture. So you see that on one hand there are certain words, and on the other hand, on the right side, there are certain pictures. They are jumbled up, and we need to establish correlation between the word and the appropriate picture or the picture of the appropriate object, just like this and this. So this is what we have done in the nursery stages and in the further classes. So this sort of matching is required while we go for the mapping of the course and the PO and PSO statements. For this, we need to have this sort of a matrix ready at hand. On one hand, first of all, in the left side, you see that there are all the courses. So beginning from the first year courses, the first semester courses, and ending at the final semester course, all the courses taught in a particular program are to be listed. The number may vary. It may be 50 courses for electrical engineering, maybe 65 for automobile, maybe 55 for civil engineering, and so on and so forth. So we need to make a list of all the courses taught in a program, and then we shall move on to comparing them with the PO and PSO statements. As we have already known that the PO statements have already been prescribed by the NBA authorities, there are 7 PO or program outcome statements defined by the NBA for the diploma level programs. And for the PSO statements, the 2 or 3 statements are to be formulated by the concerned program people. So we need to make a chart like this, that on the left hand side there will be the courses we teach in a 3-year long program, and on the other hand there will be the statements that are written either by NBA or formulated by our program experts or the departmental advisory board. Next, this sort of a matrix will have to be prepared where each course has to be mapped against each PO and PSO statements. For example, we know what PO1 is or PO2 is. We know the statements that PO1 is based on basic and discipline specific knowledge, PO2 is based on problem solving, etc. So we need to first understand whether our course maps with or matches with the particular statements or not. If it matches, we can simply put a tick mark against each of the POs or PSO statements that are being matched with the course. So just it is as simple as that. For course 2, you see the PO1 statement is matching. That is, the course delivers discipline specific knowledge and basic knowledge, of course. And it matches with PO7 as well. That is, it offers the scope for lifelong learning, and it also matches with the PSO1 or PSO1 statement as formulated by the program people. Next, course 3, it also matches with the scope of the the PO1 statement, that is basic and discipline specific knowledge. It matches with PO4 statement, that is experimentation, etc. It also matches with PO5 and finally PSO2. Course 4, in the case, it usually as shown that it also matches with the PO1 statement and PSO1 statement as well. And course, so in the process, we need to map all the courses with all the PO and PSO statements. Next, it comes to assignment of strength. That is, a matching strength in numerical values has to be assigned against each course mapped. For this, we need to divide the course or break the course up into COs, that is the course outcome. So we need to understand this first. In the previous example, we have seen a simple mapping by tick marks between the course and the PO and PSO statements. But now we are solving or dealing with a more complex problem. That is, now we shall have to match the course outcome with the PO and PSO statements. And not only shall we match, but we shall also assign strengths in mathematical values. The strengths have already been given by the NBA authorities. That is, if the correlation between the CO statement or the course outcome statement and PO statement, that is the program outcome statement, is strong, we can assign 3 marks. If it's moderate, we can assign 2. If it's low or no correlation, we can assign either 1, or we can just leave it with a hyphen mark as well. So for this kind of mapping, we need to compare the CO statements, as I said, against each PO and PSO statements and assign values in terms of mapping strength, that is 1, 2, 3 or hyphen. That is, we are to establish a correlationship between all the statements in terms of their meanings, in terms of their implications, etc. Here we must understand that there is no rule for this mapping. There is no straightforward, there is no hard and fast rule that has been prescribed, and that should not exist as well. So the concerned teacher is at the liberty to assign values as per his or her own interpretation of the statements. So that means, on one hand, you can have your CO statements, and on the other hand, you can have the PO and PSO statements, and thereafter you can assign the values in terms of their implication, in terms of the interrelationship between all the statements. Just we have given here a straightforward formula, but this is only a guideline. This is not a rule, once again. So the values may be assigned in terms of the action verbs used in the concerned CO, PO, PSO statement. So this is one of the popular methods of assigning values, that matching the action verbs. We know about action verbs. We have discussed it in our previous videos, that action verbs play a key role in the formulation of all the outcome statements. So the similarity of the action verbs can be brought into consideration while assigning values to the CO, PO, and PSO mapping statements. That if my CO statement, that is the course outcome statement, it contains verbs like apply or it contains verbs like experiment, and similarly in the PO1 statement, if we find the similar types of verbs that are used, we can assign 100% value. If we can see that no, the verbs, the category of the action verbs, they differ, we can assign shorter values. Or if the overall meaning, overall implication of the CO statement doesn't match with any of the PO or PSO statement, we can straight just mark the cell with a hyphen. Right. So this is the process. Once again, I have written here, relevance or meaning or implication of the statements are to be kept in mind while assigning strength. So this is the task of the particular course teacher who teaches the course. He is the or she is the expert in teaching, and she can establish the relationship, the correlation between the CO and PO, PSO statements, and thereafter she or he will be able to assign strength as shown. Now this is a complete matrix that has been shown for a course named ABC. It's a randomly selected course. So for course ABC, we can see the relationship. So come to the second column, that is PO1 versus all the COs written over there. So the teacher has examined that he can assign 2 marks, that is a moderate sort of relationship between the PO1 statement and the CO1 statement formulated by him. For CO2 statement, he has assigned 1 marks, that is a low level of correlation that he has identified. And now CO3 against PO1 statement, 2 has been assigned. For CO4, the value is the same. Next, we shall move on to the PO2 column. Against the PO2 statement, the CO1 statement has no correlation. Once again, the teacher, we must understand, is at the liberty, he or she is free to assign values as per the implication or the meaning or the interpretation that he or she makes on both of the statements. But the most important thing to notice here is that the final row, that the last row here, the relationship or the correlation between the course and the program outcomes separately. So once again, we go back to the course and PO mapping. From breaking up the course into different COs and assigning values, we are in a roundabout way coming up to the mapping of the course against all the POs and POs. The only difference is that here we are able to assign certain values to the courses against each of the PO and PSO statements. So unless we break up the course into course outcomes and assign values separately, we cannot be able to assign the mapping strength, the numerical value of the particular course against each of the program outcome or program specific outcome statements. So you see the formula has also been given there. The formula of ascertaining the entire strength of the course, the mapping strength of the course, is the sum of the mapping strength of all the COs divided by number of CO, PO, PSOs mapped. That means if we take example, just look at PO1, here we shall find all the 4 COs, they have been mapped and assigned some values in terms of PO1. And therefore 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2, it means 7. So the sum of the COs and PO1 mapping values is 7, which will be divided by 4. That is the number of CO and PO mapped. So 7 divided by 4 is 1.75. That is the mapping strength of course ABC in terms of PO1. Now, the case of PO2 is a little different. Here we shall see that CO1 doesn't match with the PO2 statement. Similar case happens with CO4. It has no correlation with PO2 statement. Therefore, they are marked with a hyphen. It has relationship, very low relationship between course CO2 and PO2, and CO3 and PO2 both have been given the marks of 1. Now as per the formula, that is 1 plus 1 divided by 2. Here 4 is not used. Here only 2 is to be used because 2 is the number of the COPOs mapped. We shall not consider the no correlationship cells here. It is important. For PO3, you can understand this case. There is no cell has been or no COPO has been mapped or can be mapped, and therefore no value can be assigned. We can go to PO5 for a better understanding of this. That is, in PO5, the PO5 statement matches only with the CO1 statement, and no other CO can be matched with the PO5 statement. So therefore, as per the formula, the sum of COPO mapping is 2, and the number of COPOs mapped is only 1, that is CO1 versus PO5. And therefore, the mapping strength of the entire course ABC against PO5 will be 2 and nothing else. So I hope the formula is clear to you, and we shall easily hereafter can map the courses, the COs, and thereby ascertain the values of the course, entire course against each of the PO and PSO statements. So that's all for now. Thank you. In the next video, we shall come again with the attainment calculation. Thank you.